I'm Deepak Mishra and I make videos for international healthcare professionals who wish to work in Germany. Having worked here for last 10 years and having passed my exams and recently the super specialty exam, the specialist orthopedic surgeon in Germany, I decided to make a couple of videos thinking about or reflecting about the entire journey. In my previous video, I shared with you how did I make this decision to, or what factors led me to decide that okay, Germany has to be the place where I will pursue my medical career. In this video, we will move little further and go through the initial steps, the problems that came up or solutions that came up, the things that happened. And people, if you are looking for direct action tips, that okay, information that you could immediately use to pursue your journey, you will not find them in this video. Okay, for that we have several videos in our channel and I will also make more videos about them with new updates and everything. But this video is only my reflections and my thoughts and my opinions about my journey that I took 10 years back in 2014. Let us start. So continuing from the past video, if you have not watched my past video, the last video, there is a link. I will link that in the description as well. You can click on that and you can go through that. And then you can continue with this video. Otherwise, if you're not interested in the decision making, if a decision is already done, that okay, Germany is decided, so you can go through the experience that I had initially. So, first of all, I applied for tourist visa after having a hospitation. That was my reason of coming, reason for application for visa. I always tell to the candidates from our integrated program that you need to have a reason. Even though you are applying for national visa or whatever visa you're applying, or language visa or recognition of qualification visa, you need to have a reason of travel. So I, in my time, 10 years back, I did not know anything about what is the difference of visa and everything. So I applied for tourist visa basically because I knew about tourist visa because I had gone to the US before that, and that too on a tourist visa to do my electives after my or during my medical internship, like in medical college. So here also applied for tourist visa and I had gotten hospitation. So I thought it is the same thing. Okay. So I came here and I started my hospitation. Now I had done my C1 level Goethe certificate exam in India from Pune and I have passed it quite nicely. So before coming to Germany, I was quite confident about my language. But that all changed as soon as I reached here. I could not understand most of what was being said. I could not understand if Germans were talking among themselves, I could not get that, what they're talking. If they talked to me specifically, then they talked like properly, slowly, then I could get that. But if they're talking about themselves, I did not understand. I went to the hospitation. In hospitation, it was a 3-month hospitation. So I came in October 2014 and the hospitation was planned till end of December. So 4th October was my day when I came to Germany, and 5th, 6th, 7th October something, I started the hospitation and plan was end of December. Visa end was still end of December. So I came here and went to hospitation. There was visitor means doing rounds, like patient rounds. Okay, so that way you have to go. What I knew from my time in BJ Medical College and Government Medical Hospital, Sassoon Hospital, that there is a big room, like big hall, and there are beds, like maybe 20 beds in one big hall. And at visitor, you, the head of the department, the consultant, you will go to each bed and talk to patient and talk to the like present your case and everything. Here it was that there were rooms. Like each room had 2 or 3 patients, and private rooms had 1 patient. So there are different rooms in one ward, because it was not one ward as I had seen in the government medical college. It was one floor with different rooms, and in each room 2-3 patients were there. So you had to go to room. Okay, so visitor was one. Then there was early morning Besprechung. Besprechung means they used to talk about describe the things that have happened during emergency in last till 4 o'clock in the previous evening till 7 o'clock in the morning. So there, the Dean Stabender, the person who used to have duty, he used to present all the cases and the things that have been done. Okay, so he was presenting on a big screen, and other people, the head of the department, other consultants, other residents, they were all sitting and listening and making a plan that what things have to be done, like for that day. Okay, so the operation plan and everything has to be discussed. So my rotation was this hospitation was in orthopedics and trauma. So that was my goal right from the beginning, to get into orthopedics and trauma. So that was also the hospitation. So in that Besprechung, I rarely understood anything. Like the photos I saw, the x-rays and everything, that I understood, okay, this is this fracture, that fracture, those things. But the history, what happened, what is the plan, the counter questions that the consultants were doing, I could not understand anything. I could understand when anyone spoke directly to me, like when they looked at me and then they talked. If they were talking about me, okay, they were talking about me but not looking at me. I did not realize that they're talking about me. Okay, so that was the level of communication over there. So it was basically very minimal communication. So that I found very difficult and challenging, even after having done C1. That's why candidates who do say B2 or are B1 level and come to Germany for hospitation and further things, they are like, okay, sir, we're not understanding anything, what is happening? Then they start questioning their language learning, like what they have learned. So the thing is that, see, language that you learn in India, basically, you do things fast. You want to be done with it in 5-6 months time, or maybe 7-8 months time, and you need certificate. That time you don't focus too much on actually learning the language, because to learn the language properly, you have to spend at least 1.5 years, 2 years time to communicate, to understand the what you say, the accent, so, and be fluent in it. So it takes time. So what most candidates do is that they want it done fast, because the process is otherwise also so long. And then when they do fast, then the level of language that you learn is not up to the mark. Okay, and plus also when you learn from non-native teachers, that also plays a role. But then again, everything has a consequence and everything has a cost. So you have decided to learn language for cheap. That means you will get non-native teachers. If you say that, okay, I'm willing to pay say 20 euros or 25 euros per hour, so I told you, very conservative rate, but most teachers charge much higher than that. So if you say that, okay, I'll pay 25 euro per hour, and then you will learn that for 3 months, then you will definitely learn from a native teacher. So those things make a difference. I had made a bargain that, okay, I don't have that much money to learn from native teacher, and that time online learning and Skype learning and all those Zoom learning was also not a trend. Like we had to depend on the local institute, like we had to go to institute. And about that I have shared in my previous video how that entire thing was. I was working night duties and doing classes in the morning. So and from non-native teachers, from Indian teachers. So that way there was shortcoming on my side also, because I was not devoting that much time. And also I would say it was shortcoming from my side. But seeing other candidates who were devoting much time, they were also not very different from me. That's why I take it as that it was a systemic thing, that people were lagging behind on language level. So that was my first thing, that okay, in hospitation, understanding and communicating was a huge trouble even after completing language. So if you are facing this trouble, don't be discouraged. It's normal. Everybody goes through it. Okay. Then moving forward, I did not understand various other things that was going on. Like somebody said Sprechstunde. Now what is Sprechstunde? So what we say in India, OPD, that is Sprechstunde. That okay. But in OPD, as I've seen in a government hospital, there is a queue of 100 people, and one person is seen after another, and like full afternoon, morning till afternoon, the doctor is sitting there and seeing patients, and you are not moving there. Patient is coming sitting on the chair or the table, on the stool, and then comes the next patient. That was my concept of OPD. Now here there was Sprechstunde. That means patients have taken appointment 2 months, 3 months, 4 months in advance. And then they would come, there's a room, like Sprechstunde Zimmer, they would be taken in that room, they would sit, then you will have 15, 20, 25 minutes to deal with that one patient. If you have to send into X-ray, you'll send to X-ray. So do the examinations, document everything, like big brief you have to write, or sometimes dictate things. That was a Sprechstunde. Then there was a Notaufnahme. What is Notaufnahme? I did not understand. So basically, Notaufnahme was emergency that patients used to come from like during nights or evenings or during day also. The emergency patients were seen over Notaufnahme. There were two sources basically how patient came in. So through Notaufnahme, that is the emergency cases, and the elective ones through the Sprechstunde. So then how did the emergencies land up? In India, I knew that, okay, the relatives or the bystanders would put the accident cases in the rickshaw or the taxi and bring it to the hospital. I've also seen cases where people brought patients on a cycle to the hospital. So here, not like that. Here, there was ambulance, there's Rettungsdienst. Rettungsdienst means the paramedic system. So they used to go to the patient's home or the site of the accident and bring patients from there to the hospital. So to understand the system, that how is all works, like how did the Rettungsdienst get to know, who informed whom, then how did we already knew, the doctor who was there already knew that which patient is coming. So this communication, and you can imagine that you are there, but the entire background communication that is going on, it's happening. You see the results that this happened, but you cannot make sense of why it happened. Like who told whom, who knew about this already. So that chain of sequence was not clear. So it was very confusing in the beginning. So, and you can imagine you are in a new country, and like I was traveling 40 kilometers or I think 35 kilometers one direction and 35 kilometers another direction, because I was living like I was living in another city. So I couldn't, because I did not have like proper accommodation near the hospital. So so this happened, and that way, doing this for few weeks, like 3-4 weeks, my visa was till end of December, as I mentioned. And I was going to hospital every day. I was struggling during the Visite, during the Besprechung, and then the Notaufnahme, and I was going operations also, and I was holding retractors over there. So I was learning, I was understanding, but I tried to evaluate the entire thing. That, okay, what is happening here? But before that, the evaluation will go for later. I will talk about the first interview I did. First interview was on 14th October. That means 9 days after having come to Germany, or 10 days. That was in the city of Duisburg. And I used to live in Braunschweig. Okay. So from my hospital was in Braunschweig. So from Braunschweig to Duisburg is around 3.5-4 hours journey, like Flixbus thing. So this Flixbus is a more economic, cheap mode of transport. So my interview was there in one of the big hospitals in Duisburg, which is in general surgery. It was the interview. Okay, so we had email communication. The secretary told me to come, and it was planned like a 1-day hospitation and then a Bewerbungsgespräch. Bewerbungsgespräch is the talk that you have, the interview basically, that you have with the head of the department. And so I made the plan, and if you are starting at 7 o'clock in the morning and the place is say 300 kilometers or 400 kilometers away, then obviously you have to book an accommodation. So I booked a bus ticket because that's the most cheapest one. So bus travel, then accommodation. If you look at hotels, it's expensive. So I looked for a Jugendherberg. Jugendherberg is a youth hostel. Youth hostel, basically you get bunk beds over there. So you get one bed for one night, like that. And it costs me around 30 euro, something like that. It cost me that time. And plus breakfast was there, but since I had to go 6 o'clock in the morning, so I could not get the benefit of that breakfast. So I paid that amount and I booked that bus. So to Duisburg, lived in the Jugendherberg at night, and at 7 o'clock I was in the hospital. Okay, then we started this thing. I went to the Besprechung, Visite, and after that in the operation theater. And in the evening, I spent entire day. In the evening, there was a interview with the head of the department over there. The interview, in my view, was going quite well. Like I showed him my achievements in the previous things, my trip to USA, my electives, my interest in orthopedics and trauma. So, and it was a general surgery position, but it was a common trunk. So common trunk is common for all branches. Even though you say you're interested in orthopedics and you are choosing surgery, that's fine. I mean, you want to learn that. It's common trunk. You are allowed to do that. So you can say that my ultimate goal is orthopedics and trauma, but I would like to have some experience in general surgery as well for 2 years. That's a valid like reasoning. You don't say that, okay, it's the first interview, I don't have any other option, that's why I've come to you. You don't say like that, and you say I'm interested in this because that will help me in my further career as well. Fine. Or you can say that you are interested in, you had experience in orthopedics and trauma as a student, but you are now interested in general surgery. That was your long-term goal since your childhood, and orthopedics trauma, you took that previous rotation because you got it in it, and you did not want to lose that opportunity in the US. So the stories can be made using the same facts, you can have a different narratives. So that was my narrative, was that okay, I want to do orthopedics and trauma, but I would rather start with general surgery if possible. Okay, so it was going quite well, but at the end what happened is that the head of the department, he said that, oh, you don't have approbation. Now at that point I was like little disappointed, because I have written right from the beginning in my Bewerbungsschreiben and everything that I am new to Germany, I don't have approbation, I have not even applied, because that time it was not the trend to apply beforehand. That time you could apply only if you had a job, like Einstellungszusage. So now it is like this, that you have like for states like Bayern, you don't even need anything. You can directly apply with the other requirements. States like NRW, Niedersachsen, you need those one of the three things that I have talked in different videos. But that time it was not like that. It was like that you need to have Einstellungszusage, that is some hospital should say that we are going to employ you, then you can apply. And I was living in Niedersachsen. This interview was in NRW. That you have to understand here clearly. That's a different state. So there was no reason why I should have applied to NRW. That then he was like, oh, then it will be a problem. But let me talk to my HR, like what can be done, and I'll get back to you. So what can I say? Like I was not, I was at mercy of their discretion. I did not have anything to say or anything. I felt like how stupid is that you make someone travel for say total 7-8 hours. One has to live in a hotel or a Jugendherberg and hostel, bear all the costs, and you have not even checked the application properly, that this guy does not have approbation. You should have not called me at all. But because of lack of the language, and also coming from a non-power position, because you are an applicant, you cannot say, you are just hopeful that okay, somehow they would make some place for me, some like way that they could take me even without approbation. So you don't say anything, you just go, okay, thank you very much, it was nice coming here, I learned so many things, I saw new things, and I'll be looking forward for your response. You say, you prepare these things beforehand. I did all my interviews very well prepared. Like over preparation is my thing basically. Since my school days itself, I realized that I was not one of the sharpest mind that have lived on the earth. So what that could be compensated was preparation, and that I have did since like everything since my school days, and that has also paid well to this day, I would say. So prepare well, because preparation is in your hands, and other things, your luck is not in your hands, your circumstances that you come from, that is not in your hands, your financial background is not in your hands, but what you can do with those, under those circumstances, how well you can prepare, that is in your hands. So that was my dictum right from my school days, like when I came to the higher levels like 7th, 8th, 9th standard. So I started preparing for things. So this was all the preparation. I had prepared very well for the interview, even though that time there were not many people who had done this process, and nobody could guide so much. There was no chat GPT or not much information on Google. But in general, like spending time, you can do things on your own also. If you think that, okay, from the point of view of the interviewer, what would he expect me to say, what would he ask me, what would he be interested in. So, and in that, because you don't know exactly what you have to, then you prepare more, because you don't know which things are not important. So now when we have our candidates go for interviews, we prepare them for specific things, that okay, look, these are the questions, they are specific, they ask these questions, so you have to prepare these questions every, like, without any grammatical error, without any comma, full stop error, you have to speak it fluently. So those things of visa preparation, for interview preparation, we do that. But in my time, I did not know which direction, how is an interview in Germany, how is an interview for a doctor in Germany. So I prepared for everything that I could think of, and that also paid off. That interview went well. Okay, he was like very happy. At least he said so, that he was like, he saw a very good potential in me to work there, but he could not promise anything at that point of time because of lack of document, that Berufserlaubnis or approbation, and he needed somebody who could start work sooner. Fair enough, I went back and I waited, hopefully, for a couple of weeks. Nothing turned out. So by the end of, this was the middle of October, like 2 weeks after I have come to Germany, 10 days. And by end of October, I realized that, okay, this way it's not going to work. I'm going to hospital for hospitation every day. I'm getting full tired by the evening. I don't have time to apply for hospitations or jobs or any other thing. I was on tourist visa. I could not do any part-time job also. And during this next weeks, one of the colleague who was also a foreigner in this hospital where I was in Braunschweig, he asked me during small talk that, okay, what kind of visa you have? I told him the normal C visa, like the. He said, oh, C visa you have? I was like, yeah. What is the problem? No, but do you know that it cannot be extended? I was like, no, I don't know that. But why not? He said, no, that I don't know why not and all. But C visa, tourist visa, you cannot extend it. That was an alarming information for me, because now what to do? Like, because my visa is going to end in December, and December end is a very bad time for anything to do, like, bureaucratic, like in a government system or any office system, because from mid-December everything gets closed. Everybody is in vacation mood, Christmas mood. So that means I had that 1.5 months time, November and half of December, to do something about it. Otherwise, I had to pack my bags, and in end December, I had to go back to India and start everything again and think of new plans. Okay, I did not want to do that, because travel cost, plan, coming back again. So those things have lots of risk for me. So now I decided, instead of I'm doing this hospitation, going every day, getting tired, and I don't see any chance why this hospital would take me, because it's a big hospital, big trauma center, and I'm seeing my performance. I'm not even understanding what they are like expecting or thinking or talking. So I'm not fit enough to work here as a doctor, as of yet at least. So I decided to quit that hospitation. So, and I wrote a email giving some excuses to the head of the department that why I would not be coming. And yes, that was then done. And from that day, I sat at home and I started sending emails. And I started sending emails in a very structured way, like preparing a Excel sheet, hospital name of the professor, his subject of specialty, and writing emails, specific emails. Then, like before that, I used to write generalized emails, because now I was in a burn situation. I was writing intensively all the hospital. I sent around 700-800 emails. Okay, and from these 700-800 emails, I got 7 interviews in the month of November. Okay, in one month I got 7 interviews. I used to call them up. I used to send email, and after a few minutes I used to call them. So I used to many times be told from secretary that, okay, why are you calling? You sent an email. We'll see when we find time. I will get back to you. Why are you calling? No problem. Then I used to call to the next person. The next person used to say the same thing. Sometimes I used to call the head of the department. Some head of the department used to get irritated that why are you calling me? You have sent an email. We'll get back to you. So, but my problem was that I did not have time. I did not have that 4 weeks time that they would look at the email, get back to me, then invite me for interview, then after 2 weeks tell me if I was selected or not. I did not have that much time. My time was running. My time was going to end in mid-December theoretically and end December practically. So I was like in a very desperate situation. I was sending emails. I was going the other hospitals which are nearby where I was living. I went personally, submitted my application personally, talked to the secretary. I talked to like if they could invite me. Then I was like, you take me for hospitation also, for a new hospitation. Okay, because now time is to increase the visa. So luckily what happened is that, as I said, in this of the 700 emails, I got 7 interview calls. Now I made a point that my previous interview where I went to Duisburg, there I had spent around 120-140 euros for one interview, like traveling cost, food and one night stay. If you are going for another interview, again far away, then 120-140 euros is to be expected. That means 7 interviews, around 1000 euro cost. That was too much for me. Okay, I could not do that. And plus, worry was that again this might happen the same thing, that you go there and they say that, oh, you don't have approbation, you don't have Berufserlaubnis, we cannot hire you. So I wanted to avoid that. Then what I did is that as soon as I got like a response email that we would like to have an interview with you, I used to call them up, or I used to write email. Okay, again explicitly mentioning that I hope you have seen my application, just to emphasize that I don't have approbation at present. I don't have a Berufserlaubnis at present. I will apply to the licensing authority once I get a approval from your side, not a contract but a Einstellungszusage. Is that known to you? So, and people who, fortunately all of them, like they knew this, and then they said, yes, we know that, we have seen that, and that's still we want to invite you. Then I said that, look, the next email was, look, yeah, thank you very much for considering my application and detailed response to my email. Since I live here and your hospital is so far away, it's going to be like 6 hours of one side journey and plus accommodation and everything. So is it possible that we do a Skype meeting, a Skype session? So many, like some 3 places I think said, fine, we can do Skype sessions. And we did Skype sessions. At one place, it was like 5-10 minutes. But I realized that it's a problem that they were not very, technically they were not very, used to doing Skype sessions. And there was a problem with Skype sessions. And I was also not being very convincing on Skype. So the rest places who said that no, Skype interview we don't prefer, we rather prefer a personal interview. So if you can come, then let's fix time and date. So there I fixed a time and date, and I went for those interviews very far away, like corners in Germany. So I went to one place, it was Waren. Waren is in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. There it was a rehabilitation center basically, not an acute hospital, but a rehabilitation center. And that too in psychosomatic medicine. So before that, I was sending, in desperate situations, I was sending email to everyone. So I sent email for psychosomatic also. Basically, I sent for internal medicine, but that doctor had 1 year training position for internal medicine, but it was in general a psychosomatic center with internal medicine parts as well. So I went there, I wrote the same email that let's have a telephonic conversation or Skype conversation. So we talked on phone, like there was a telephonic conversation. So I talked to 10-15 minutes with the doctor, and he was quite pleasant. Like I liked talking, he understood, and he talked about my family background, India, my journey so far, and basic courtesy interview was been done. He said that, okay, why don't you come over and let me show our place and let's see how it goes further. So I was very positive about this. Okay, fine. So, and I went there. It was also very far away, but fine. I mean, it was already positive. That's why I prefer a telephonic conversation first. That way, both of us, like you and the interviewer, they get a feel of each other. before you actually meet and spend time and money on that thing. So I went there and it was good. So I talked to the doctor first, and after that conversation with the doctor, he introduced me to the HR, to the Personalabteilung. And the Personalabteilung had their own interview, so that was also fine. So then they said that they would offer me a job. I was very happy. It was 3rd December or something like that. So that means within 60 days of coming to Germany, within 2 months of coming to Germany, I had a job. So I said that, okay, same thing. I would apply for license here. It would take some months till I get my Berufserlaubnis. What will I do till then? So they said, okay, no problem. You can start as a hospitant, and we would pay you for accommodation. Like, we will give you accommodation, and we'll pay you some pocket money, and we'll give you lunch and those things in the cafeteria, and we can start like that. So I was very happy. So what happened is that after that, the other interviews that I said, that another one in general surgery, there some like girl, some resident, she got pregnant. That's how she went for a Mutterschutz, like Berufsverbot it is, like if you get pregnant, then in specific branches you cannot work as a doctor. So general surgery being one of them, because you have to go in operation, you have to you don't know if the patient is infectious, non-infectious, septic patient. So your pregnancy is through that in risk. That's how you get Berufsverbot. That means you are not supposed to work, even though you will be paid full salary. So that is one benefit of here. So I went to that interview, and then they said that, okay, fine, we would take you for a contract of 12 months. I was like still happy, because my aim is to get into surgery. So one job I had in psychosomatic, like internal medicine, and next I'm finding, even though it is restricted for 12 months, in general surgery. So it was not the best, but for showing me the direction, it was okay, the general surgery. And then third job I got was from another state. That was in orthopedics and trauma, but that was I think a non-training job. Like they said, non-training. There was not Weiterbildung for me. So that time it was this rule that Weiterbildung begins after Kenntnisprüfung. That was not there. That time my work before approbation also was counted as this thing. But that rule was kept changing from state to state. So that was the third job. And the next job that I got was from a nearby hospital, that in neurosurgery, they needed someone. And the neurosurgery was also a non-training position. But since it was located nearby, and for that I did not have to move, and neurosurgery was a different department. That time I was in the awe that, okay, neurosurgery, if I get my foot inside, maybe I can later on land up in a training position. So I was more inclined towards neurosurgery, and I started there. Same conditions like accommodation, food, and no, I did not get any pocket money, accommodation, food, and hospitation status. That means you go there and everything. And during my, and the most important, Einstellungszusage for the licensing authority. Okay, so with that contract, not the contract, but the Einstellungszusage in neurosurgery, I applied for the medical license to the NITSA, that is Niedersächsische Medical Licensing Authority. Okay, and I started there. And then it took 4-5 months till NITSA got back to me. In this 4-5 months, by the time I did my hospitation for 5 months, okay, unpaid, only living in that hostel room and getting accommodation, getting a food in the cafeteria, the lunch in the cafeteria. And by that time, it's about that, okay, I would get my Berufserlaubnis. So it so happened that there was I think it was few weeks that I got a Berufserlaubnis, and I was working in neurosurgery. There was an opening in anesthesia in the same department, in the same hospital, and that was a training position. So then I thought that, okay, now I'm settling. It's a relatively bigger town, like bigger city, 100,000 population. I would rather stay here instead of going in some village somewhere. I would rather stay here, take a job in anesthesia. So I took that, and that I got easily because the head of the department of anesthesia had been to India, and he knew some hospitals and some doctors over there. He had heard the name of a hospital where I used to work, so he had some idea about India, and he was like quite impressed with my journey to the US. Now, one important thing is that in my CV, I had done significant, like not significant, but lots of this local research protocol writing and this course and that course, all those things that was important for international application. I did that during my medical college days, but nobody bothered about that. But my time in the US, my electives in the US, everyone asked me about that. So where did you go in Chicago? What did you do? What cases did you? What was the system over there? So either they had already been there, so they like the US, and they knew that, and they wanted to like just have a conversation about that, and then they got the chance to say, oh, I was also there in this Texas or in Chicago or in New York, and then we had a conversation about that, and that was one topic of conversation was always the journey or the path or the why I did not pursue my career in the US. That was always a topic of conversation. So I had prepared that, and by that time, doing so many interviews, I was already like rehearsed in what I was about to say. So that was about the this thing, this interview, so anesthesia interview, and then they took me, and I started working over there. And my aim was right from the beginning to go to orthopedics and trauma. So after few months, after I think 4-5 months being in anesthesia over there, I kept on sending emails. I never stopped sending emails. Even though I had a job, I had started working in the evenings. I used to prepare. I used to just update my CV every time that, okay, now I'm a anesthesiologist here, like a resident in anesthesia, but my main aim is orthopedics and trauma. That you can see from my electives in the US, where I was in the Cook County Trauma Center for electives. So my interest goes back 4 years back, and don't look at me as a anesthetist who is trying to upgrade. Look at me as a orthopedic resident who has not gotten a chance in orthopedics and is doing at present anesthesia. So that was my narrative that time. So yeah, and I sent applications everywhere, and then fortunately I got a position. I got an interview for one of the hospitals. It was a good hospital. My first job, I stayed there for 3.5 years later after that, and 200 kilometers away in the same state of Niedersachsen, near Hanover it was, in Nordheim. It is a smaller city, but about how my journey was there as a resident in orthopedics, first year resident, beginning my career at the age of 29 or something, I was that time. So I will talk about that 29. I will talk about that in detail in next video, but this video was focused on my journey, my transition from coming on a tourist visa and getting extended that visa, which was not extendable. Mind you, that job that I got on 3rd December helped me apply for visa extension. Okay, but because I got the letter. But later on, when actually the time of extension came, I was in a job in neurosurgery because I had gotten contract by then from neurosurgery. And when I afterwards, like when actually the Berufserlaubnis came, I moved to anesthesia and I had the Berufserlaubnis changed. And then after a few months there, I moved to orthopedics and trauma. So this step by step, every time calculating and strategizing what would be the next step, that helped me a lot. Without much guidance, without much things. And about visa, how I could get the visa which was theoretically non-extendable, extended, and I lived here like uninterrupted, legally. And I also helped my colleagues who were like few months behind me, who were with me in language learning in India and had followed me. Like one I came in October, one came in November, another came in December. So I shared my ideas with them and they pursued the same journey, same path, and landed up in different hospitals almost same time. They took neurology, so they became fakats sooner because it's only 5 years, and I took a little longer because it's 6 years. But then we all three we pursued that same pathway, and I was like, so if you find the information in this video, insights in this video useful for in your case, do write that in the comment section. If you have ideas or questions about the system, that also you can write in the comment section. I read all those comments. The comments from the previous video, on the last video where I started the thought, the idea, or the decision towards Germany, I have seen those comments, and I will consider them in the when the place comes. I intend to make a series of videos on this journey, on my sharing insights, and not only the action points. Action points I've shared many times, and I will continue doing that. But let us first talk on this reflections. I hope that you get some insight from this video as well, and share it with your friends, and like this video, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.